What's going on, everyone? I hope you're very well. I hope you're having a very nice day. And I thought I'd show you this micro project that we worked on last time. Just to show you how it's doing, you can see that the Cerisa plant, it's growing new leaves on top, that the moss is nice and green. That little cutting that we took and that we planted in the soil, it's there, it's surviving. Let's see, zoom in. And you know, the underwater part of the build is also looking promising. So I really like this type of projects that features submerged part but also an immersed part. And so the other day I was visiting the dollar store and I came across this type of containers, a bit larger ones I've seen before, and literally this was like $1, and I thought I give it a go. So what I intend to do is same thing, right? To keep a part of the build submerged. It's going to be sort of like a micro pond. It's also going to have lots of stones that are going to mimic or, you know, look like a mountain emerging from the water, and that's going to be covered in moss. Yeah. So one thing that I've noticed from this build is that the water, as it evaporates, keeps the moss nice and fresh, nice and moist. So you know, it works. So that's why I wanted to try this one now. So I'm going to set the camera down. I've got everything over here. I got the moss over there, the soil, the aquarium gravel, and the little aquatic plants, aquarium plants, moss, everything that I'm going to use. Yeah. So I'm going to set the camera down and we can start working with the submerged part of the build. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is, you know, this is going to be a wall set method build. So add a little bit of organic soil to the bottom. And like I've said in previous videos, you know, I always tend to go heavy on the organic soil and then I kind of have regrets about it. But, you know, I think in the future it's going to be no problem. So I got some of it here. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. That's nice. And then maybe a little bit more. And then we come in with the aquarium gravel. Yeah. So we cover it so that the nutrients are completely covered by the gravel and are not in direct contact with the water. So we got our nice little base. Yeah. There we go. So that's pretty much it. And now we proceed with the hardscape. So I want there to be a lot of stone in one side of the build, while the other half, it's like not as much. You know, it's not covered as much with the stones. So that's why I want to add several stones into the mix, so that, like I said, it resembles a mountain. Yeah. So I'm going to think about it. I'm going to pause the video and then I'll show you what I decided on. But these are the rocks that I've been working with. Yeah. You've seen these minerals before. I actually selected this one because it's super red. You can see it there. It's got a lot of iron, this mineral. This one over here, it's also quite cool. You can see that it's got some sort of metal in its composition. And this one I've also used before. It's sort of like a flint color, but it's the same mineral. It's super hard, but it's also very brittle, which has lent itself very well to working with it because I can break it down into small pieces. So I'm gonna decide on the hardscape and then we can continue. Okay, so I think I decided on this as the hardscape. You can see it's a pretty basic form. You know, the shapes are very basic, but I do want to plant some moss on top of the little mountain. So that's why you can see some small crevices there where, you know, we're going to plant it and which are going to be filled with the gardening soil. Yeah, so another thing is that I ended up using most of the warm colors as opposed to this one, which is a bit more blue. Yeah, so I think it's going to be very good. The next step will be to water the whole thing, and that would give us a nice firm surface where we can go ahead and plant the aquatic plants. Yeah, the plants are going to be submerged. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. When I start planting them, I'll show you what that looks like. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so there we are, and as I showed you before, here we got like a nice little selection of very robust plants. We can see over here we got some hydrocotyl or hydrocotyl. I don't even know how to pronounce that. The name it's in Latin. You can see the description box to see the scientific names. We got Bucephalandras, the regular one, and a very mini one. This is that was a truck. This is Sagittaria, and over here we got an Eliocharis. This is very nice because it can mimic patches of reeds. In fact, that's something that we can see over here. I did that in the previous build. Over here we can see the Eliocharis, and it looks very, very nice. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and start planting. I kind of messed up the hardscape. There it is. So what I want to do is use the Sagittaria as a plant that's going to control the nutrients in the build. So I'm going to plant it pretty much away from the mountains. Yeah. So I got another one over here. What I'm doing is I'm trimming the roots a little so that they can adapt themselves very well to the new environment. And also some of those little roots are already dead, so I don't want decomposition to happen in the build. Well, in time it's bound to happen, but when you got a lot of plants and they get rid of the excess nutrients, that's not going to be a problem. So I just want to give it a head start. This one over here, it's also very cool. You can see that some of the leaves have been eaten by the snails in the aquarium where I took this from. We also got a little bit of hair algae, so I want to completely remove that before I continue. But this is a very cool little plant. I really like the shape of it. The hydrocotyl is also very, very robust, very, very vigorous, and it can grow immersed and submerged. It can grow as an aquarium plant and as a garden plant. Yeah, so there we go. And I think I'm gonna grow the tiny micro Bucephalandras as immersed plants in this build. Well, at least the mini one, and then the regular one I'm just gonna stick in the soil here. Yeah, that's gonna look quite cool. I'm also gonna use some other pebbles to put over here, just so that we can have nice, interesting things to look at besides the plant. This Sagittaria, I think it's a little too big for the moment, so I'm going to use a smaller one. I got a little misfortune with the camera. I'm going to edit that out so you won't see a thing, but nothing too serious. There we go. Was that the way it looked? I don't know, this was like that. Looks good like this. But anyway, I was planting the whole thing, and I was saying that the little Sagittaria was a little too big for the build, so I'm going to use smaller ones. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure if that's exactly how the hardscape was. Maybe like this. I'm not sure. But in the meantime, we'll just leave it like that. Maybe when I see the editing, I can see that the setup was different. Yeah, it kind of looks different. So I think it was this way. kind of looks good too. Anyway, for the time being, I'm going to leave it like that. Well, wait, no, because I also have to put it in place because I'm going to put moss on top of it. So, I'm just going to pause the video. So, I ended up changing the whole thing because, you know, that build was created in the moment, in the heat of the moment. So, it was impossible for me to see in the video, you know, how rocks are all different from different sizes, different from different angles, and you know, they look different. It was impossible to see where I had placed it. So I changed it, and now it looks like this. I think it kind of looks cool, and we got a lot of surface area to plant that moss. Now, I planted the Eliocharis right next to the mountain, so that it can resemble, like I said, those little patches of reeds and papyrus and whatnot in the build. Yeah. So the next step would be to go ahead and plant the moss in the tray. We got a couple of patches there, but I also have my moss box over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit of dusting of the gardening soil. I'm going to mist it, and that's going to give it a very nice surface area where it can grow. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So I'm gonna show you a little bit of what I do when I apply the gardening soil. Of course, you have to wet it. You have to water it so that it becomes sort of like a paste, and then you just apply it wherever you want the moss to grow. So for me, it will be here on top. You can see that's still a bit wobbly. Well, with time, this soil will sort of, and the rhizoids from the moss will keep it together. And so it's a very nice way to make things look natural. So I think it's a really, really cool trick. Japanese people do this with a type of soil that is called keto. And it's used to make kokedamas, and it's used to propagate moss in moss gardens. So that's that. And the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to plant the little Bucephalandra and then plant the moss, and we'll call it a day. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So the little plant will be here. We can see that because of the thickness of the soil. It's just a matter of coming in and putting it in place. I got another patch of moss, but I'm not sure if it's gonna work. But it's this one over here. You can see there's got little patches of green. Some of it is alive, of course. So I think I'm gonna divide this into two. And one part I'm gonna place here. The other one here. And then, I'm gonna come in with the rest of the moss, and then cover the rest of the little places where we have the gardening soil. This is a box where I'm propagating moss, and you can see that it's nice and green, and I'm going to use a little bit of those patches to apply to the build. We can see that the little plant has already been placed there. I almost destroyed the whole thing. So the next thing will be to come in with my little tongs and then apply little bits of moss to the mountains. Yeah. Same thing over there. Yeah. just like that. So anyway, that's pretty much the last thing that I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna fill the rest of the build with water, and I'll place it on top of my desk where I have a nice grow light, so where you'll be able to see the finished result. Yeah. So I'm gonna do that. A little bit of spraying with the water so that it remains moist. Everything is nice and settled. Yeah, I'm just gonna fill it up. Yeah, we do this and then we see the end result. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So here we are. This is the last step, if you will. Sorry about the light, but let's see if we can. It's better. We can see that the moss has been planted. The aquatic plants are also in place. You can see that the water is still a bit murky. That's normal, but in the next couple of days it will become better and better. I was not 100% sure about this over here, but I think it looks kind of nice. And the nice thing about this build is that as you go along, and as the days go by, you can change little things about them to make them look even better. Yeah, you can see that's the water level over there. A little bit of debris we can remove. Did I remove that? No. Oh, it's a little, yeah, organic material. And as it settles, we can add a little bit of more water or less water depending on how deep you want the little water level to be. And also in the next couple of days I'm going to add a little snail. Here we have the update of the week. We can see our little looks really cool. We did something similar there. I know we can see the snail, but there are definitely a couple of snails over here. I'm just gonna remove the top so we can see inside. And yeah, doing okay. So anyway, I hope you liked this video. A little bit choppy because of the accidents that we had during filming, but it's really, really cool. And if you take into account that this was $1 and everything else I already had in my house, it's practically free. Yeah, so I'm going to show you what it looks like in the next coming weeks, days, and yeah, I hope it looks good in a couple of days. Yeah, so I hope you liked this video. Drop any comments, doubts, questions, anything, drop them down below. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.